Well, here we go. It's wide open. We got 1 day and 35 food plots. It's go time.
All right, I'm gonna pick your brain because this is I got a brand new food plot, and we're always learning, and this is the reason for this meeting. Okay, 2-year-old cutover. I went in there early turkey season. I mulched out a couple food plots. I got one in particular. I'm thinking it was 3 acres and a bottom. So it's always been kind of wet in there, but I think whenever I get it cleaned off, it'll get drier. So it's got some water grass, a lot of cedar weed, just junk out there right now because it's growing up about that tall right now.
Okay.
My plan was to go in there this week, clip, come back. I mean, I'm just going to be clipping. I'm going to come back, spray, burn it down. And then I was going to physically, in probably around the 1st of September, physically burn it with fire. Mm-hmm. Okay. One reason is cleaning up that mulching even a little more because there was a bunch of junk out there, just cleaning it up. Then going in and disking and planting. Would you do different?
Yes, I would not. I would not clip it.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. Is there stumps in it?
Yeah, but they're not. I can still run a disc over it.
Okay.
It's heavy Amco and they're old pine stumps that are. I did a cheap way of cleaning it up, but
that's fine.
Yeah.
So it's pretty ground level is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you disc it, man, you're going to uncover so many seeds that it's unbelievable. What I would do, okay, is I would go in and I would spray it. When we say burn it down, what we mean is kill it with Roundup and 2,4-D.
Heavy.
Those two things are going to kill mostly everything.
Right.
If you've got a lot of grass in it, mix ammonium nitrate with it. Okay, about 6 ounces to the acre is all you need. It'll burn the fire out of it. Okay, if you then say, Blair, I really want it to look beautiful. Okay, fine. Spray it. Give it 3 weeks. Okay, go out there and broadcast. Try to really broadcast. That's the key with broadcasting into unworked ground. You got to plan for a rain. But here's the deal: you got to have a rain with a disc anyways. Because what happens with the disc is when that soil, and it will, even in Illinois, Iowa, that soil temperature will hit 135 degrees when you get sun baking on it, and it's nothing but soil as flat as this table. Okay, it's going to heat up. That seed's not going to grow in that. Optimal soil temperature for seeds are about 75 to about 90 degrees. Okay.
And you've seen soil temps hit 135 on bare.
Yeah, listen, hey man, I'm old school. You know what I do? I take my grilling probe. I take it out there and put it in the soil. You think I'm joking? I ain't joking. I'll send you a picture in 2 weeks. I mean, is it? You ain't got to be. I mean,
that's right.
I'm not that smart. You know, anyways, spray it. Go out there and broadcast about heavy rain. If you got a quarter-packer, if you've got an old drag fence, whatever, drag it over that stuff. Mm-hmm. You will flatten that stuff down. You will create a mulch. Okay, you'll create a barrier. It'll hold the rain, the moisture level. You're also going to have all that stuff that's sitting on top of that seed, and it's going to slowly deteriorate, releasing phosphorus, releasing nitrogen. Different plants are going to have different things in it. And the other thing is, you really get me on my soapbox now. You're keeping your earthworms, man. That's the most important thing. I know that sounds so stupid, but that's the most important thing to not have too much soil compaction. Earthworms do more for soil than anything else as far as not having soil compaction. They allow it to aerate. Their feces is so much organic matter than you can grow in plants ever. So if you do that, you're saving time, you're saving money. You've got to get a little bit over the fact of, it may not look beautiful 2-3 weeks after it came up because that stuff there's going to be some stuff still a little bit standing. But if you drag a fence over it, or if you drag a cultipacker over it, or anything that's just going to level that stuff, it's kind of like we were talking about crimping. You're doing the same thing. You're just using whatever you have, but it's going to crimp easy because you sprayed it and killed it. Yeah. And if you spray it and you go back 2 weeks, well, it's still a little bit green. Spray it again.
So walking into it, so this is a mulch food plot new. I think it's great. Dive deep off it. So you got a brand new food plot. You're starting it over, and you take Blair's approach and go that route. What do you look at for a blend? I know y'all are doing this in Alabama now. You're totally developing a new property. Do you go with like a like a Shady Patch blend that's got some clover. I mean, like Shady Patch is a throw and grow, but it's really good on the fact of it's got clover that you could roll into, and there's not a lot of throw and grows that they actually put quality seed in.
Right, correct.
And Shady Patch is.
Yes.
Or do you go with like a big 3? Would that be more important and to start developing?
So my blend. So when I'm choosing blends in the South, and let me say this for the Southern hunters, it's a lot harder to grow stuff in the South as compared to other areas where the organic matter is good and the soil's a little better. Okay, so I'm looking at two things. Number one, I want the best food I can get for the deer, but I'm also thinking about how can I make this plot better so I can come in and put beans or whatever I want to put in the next year.
Right.
Okay, so if it's a big area, I usually go with more cereal grains, and I always say this: Southern deer, and I'm even talking about Kentucky too. Okay, Southern deer really like the cereal grains a lot more than a Midwest deer.
Right.
Kansas is a little bit different. Okay, you're still south enough that it's a debatable topic, you know. And I don't hunt Kansas enough. I do hunt it, but I don't hunt it near as much as you do. So but a true Southern deer, man, I'm gonna tell you, I've had standing soybeans and had cereal grains right beside it, and they'll freaking just wearing them cereal. Wheat rhinos is what I'm talking about when I say cereal grains.
Don't dummify it. It's
Yep,
easy.
yep.
If you put it out there and cover it up, and you get rain and you put a little fertilizer,
Yep.
you're gonna have. In the South,
Yep.
you've got pretty much as good a food plot
Yep.
as you're gonna have.
Yep.
I mean, you can critique a little bit,
Yeah,
but
you ask me what I do. If it's a bigger plot, I'm gonna do cereal grains all through it. Okay, I'm gonna add radishes in the South. No, a deer don't love radishes as much in the South as
Right.
they do the
It's a
Midwest.
soil.
But it's a soil improvement. Okay, I'm also might add some rape in there because it's a ground runner that grows phosphorus. Okay, the other thing I'm gonna do is right there in front of my blind, you know, a 50 by 50 area or 60 by 20 area, I'm gonna have clover established right there. And why? Because I'm going back to that two-stage food plot approach. I want a big field, but I also want an area that I'm never gonna change, and I'm gonna keep groceries right there. And
So
that's
you might would come in with like a Shady Patch that's got the cereal grain, all that in there.
Yep.
But then you could roll in, and your plan is clover there. Then
Yep.
you're going to pick up from
Yep.
there and go big 3.
Correct.
With mixing in some small seed as
Correct.
far as radishes
Yep.
and all that.
And then if you don't have the clover that you want coming up next March, go out there and just start broadcasting over it.
Yep.
It's what they call frost seed. But here's the thing: if it's early enough in the spring and you're even out of the frost range a little bit, but you're getting rains, it's going to germinate. Man, I frost seeded, if we can call it that.
Yeah.
Ladino clover last year, April the 3rd. We were way out of the frost range where I
Right.
was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like March the 10th, 15th is the end. You know,
That's right.
Came up great, but we had rains. You know, in spring.
Something to live for. Something to live for. You can tear me down, but I'm gonna stick around. Something to live for.
To learn more and see additional content, make sure you follow Backwoods Premium Wildlife Products social media pages. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel.
So you going to document that, Slade?
I'm going to.
We already documented.
If it don't work, I'm just gonna say it didn't rain.
I think we need to, since
it's
we're
gonna
hitting
work.
on the cereal grains, I think we kind of need to talk about the big 3
Yep.
for sure, because those are what we're talking about: oats, wheat, and rye. Right.
Yep.
So within those 3, you kind of have deer prefer one over the other a little more than that. So it seems like, and let's talk about the South first. Seems like deer typically prefer more in order oats than wheat than rye.
Yeah. Which I will say, I feel like a lot of people overlook, and Blair kind of educated me on this, but large difference in ryegrass and cereal rye.
Don't go plant Gulf Annual ryegrass.
Yeah.
Okay, let me be clear.
Yeah.
You're going to have every farmer in the country hating you.
Yeah, tetraploid, diploid rye is the blends of rye you want.
That's
Yes,
right.
cereal rye, not ryegrass.
that's
You'll
right.
never
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Yeah, yes.
Cereal rye.
Yep.
But so within those, you also have they're a little more cold hardy.
Yeah.
So your oats are probably your least cold hardy, which is why you can plant a lot of them in the South. You can get away with it. Wheat's kind of your middle range, which is why in Kansas we plant a lot of it. And then rye is probably your most cold hardy. So you get up in like Iowa and things like that, you may not be able to get away with oats. You may get a little bit out of it. You're not going to get a whole lot of life out of it.
True.
Once that first frost hits, wheat and rye will kind of continue to grow through a little bit of the frost. Once a real hard frost hits, wheat's kind of done. Rye will still keep going. Then once it gets real cold, the rye's kind of done. So that's why I like, if you're going to go the cereal route, plant all three of them together. Because what happens is the oats are usually the first to mature. Then you've got the wheat, then you've got the rye. So you're just extending the life of your food plot out. If you just pick one, so if you're just doing an oats, you know, say you guys get an early heavy frost, your oats are pretty well done. The deer will still pick at them, but they're pretty well done. Now, if you've got wheat and rye in there with them, those are continuing to grow. As that plant's growing, that's when it's the most nutritious. That's when the deer like it the most. It's actively growing. So by adding those three together, you really just extend the life out of your food plot.
Big 3 is the basis of, so we do have 50-pound bag line where you got Big 3, you got Big 5 red, Big 5 white, you got Dixie 6, all of that, but the Big 3 is the basis of all that. If you truly look at the blends. Now you get over to Big River blend, that blend was developed based off exactly what you said. It's got black oats in it, which they're going to withstand the cold weather better. So there's tweaks made on that. But Big 3, you can take that blend and you can add radishes. You can make your own blends on that. But that's your basis. You've got a good food plot. Then it goes into what y'all talked about earlier. Try some stuff. Try radishes. Try this. Try that. But you've got that Big 3 as your base.
And it's also a great cover crop. Like, we had a terrible drought last year. We had some awesome clover, killed it all. So now we're going to go back in and we're going to replant all of our clover. Well, instead of just replanting clover and then letting it, like we talked about earlier, those deer just come in, pick it up, ruin your food plot. Now we're going to go in and broadcast some Big 3 over the top of that. Just to kind of help give it some structure, give it some support, give the deer something else to eat while that clover's coming on.
And that's like goes into another couple hunts here where I actually ended up hunting last year. I was hunting a deer called Laidback G2, and it's actually where Larry ended up shooting a really old, 7-year-old 8-point, massive, 125 inches, just a tank.
Tell you what, it don't matter. It don't matter. Let me get this gun out of here. Pop this on safety. It does not matter how much you do it, whether it's your first time or your 30th time. It just don't get any better. This right here. This, get all this stuff out of the way. Look at this deer. Awesome management buck. Look at that. Big old tall, heavy. Yep, weak brows. Just a clean 8-point.
And anyway, but this food plot is called Lost Acres. It's the same field, kind of a couple years process. Planted turnips in there one year. It was great, early, bunch of shooters. All the leaves come off. Now we're left to bulbs. They move towards the cereal grains. Yes, there was deer came back to the turnips and all that. But I was like, man, when it got into December, January, when I really needed them there to be able to, hunt them, they weren't there. So now February, it was cameras all in there and sheds all in there because they moved to the turnips. We finally had enough cold weather. Well, that food plot's kind of been one we just kind of learned, where I went back last year. It was a straight Big 3. It was it's because it's it's a plot. It's really good. It sits out in the bedding area, and I've tried every way to get in there, and I've just come to the realization, like, when you go in there, it better be the day you're planning on shooting, and then you're gonna have to give it a rest. So let it sit, and then we all come in, and I was hunting laid back G2 in all the food plots around. He'd daylight here, he'd come over here, he'd come over here, but he never was. I didn't have pictures of him in that field,
Right.
Which that just means a feeder with a camera.
Yeah.
And anyway, hunting 3 days, I hadn't laid eyes on him. When I'd hunt, he'd disappear from the camera. He wouldn't come back to that one. He'd be over here. I'm like, I'm pressuring. Like, there's no doubt he's bouncing. When they start feeder bouncing, there's a reason they're leaving.
That's right.
And
That's
so I started playing. I said, you know what? This was day 4. Chris was done. Keith had already shot. And it was just me here, and Jason Heathcote was filming. And I told Jason.
I was on my way home, actually.
Yeah, he was on his way home. I said, Jason, we got to go to Lost Egg. And we had one picture, I think came to Joey's phone, at one of his cameras or something. We had one picture that looked like him in the middle of the night or something like that. I said, we need to go hunt Lost Egg. I said, because I'm hunting him all around here. He knows we're there. I said, we're going to go in one time. It's either do or die, and then we'll go back to the other ones.
This is actually the same food plot that Larry Mack shot his heavy management 8 about 5 days ago. So it's a good plot. Just can't hunt it a lot because it's so tight into the bedroom, but slipping in and hunting every now and then, it works good. Here we go. Cloudy afternoon on a big 3 food plot. Jaybird, you ready?
Ready.
Spike took it as long as he could, and he gonna mess with him. That's good. Clear the field. He gonna chase them all up in there. Jason, there he is. I thought I was looking at the doe. That's him. No doubt that's him. Here he comes. Coming straight to the field. You own it? Got him. You got him?
Mm-hmm.
Laid back. It's dead, buddy. What a stud.
Congrats, brother. Did you work your butt off on this place, man?
We just dropped him in the field, buddy.
Unbelievable.
It does not get any better. Low pressure food and beautiful food plots, man. Makes for an incredible December and January here at the Backwoods Testing Grounds. He's real big. last year we planted this field shield all the way around it and necked it down to be able to bow hunt it. And it worked well, but it's so many deer, because this is up in the bedroom, they ate it down super, super hard, and it didn't make it into January. And this year we came in and made it bigger, and then planted big 3. And we overseeded with some small pouch of the turnips, and it was just late with a drought. They didn't come up, but I mean, dude, we hunted him absolutely perfect. I mean, perfect. God, what a beautiful deer. I don't even know where to put this so it ain't ruined. Well, this field is a muddy mess, huh? Dude. Oh my God. That is unreal. I mean, a mud bath. He's big.
So we push in, first afternoon, 4 or 5 does come up, and I see him 60 yards off the field. He stands up out of the CRP. He's probably been living there the whole time.
Yeah.
And so coming into all these other stands, he could hear
Yeah.
or whatever, so he was just staying. But it's,
Hanging tight.
it goes back to like the cereal grains. And this year, I'm going to stay with Big 3, but I am probably going to add some radishes to see if I can't make it better early. It was great December, January, but it was
And let me say, you can literally do the Big 3 and add the Sugar Rush. I had a brain fart there for a minute.
Yep.
Do the Big 3 blend and add the Sugar Rush, and you're getting a lot of great brassicas.
That's right.
With that blend, and your Big 3 is your filler where it's covering all the ground, but then you're getting some staged out brassicas all throughout there that's going to help improve your soil, and then a lot of deer are going to feed on that as well. So it's a great combination to use together.
Yeah, it's so fun to hear everybody's different strategies. But at the end of the day, they're very similar too.
Yeah.
There's just little tweaks and tricks here and there.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I don't want any of y'all as a neighbor, just so you know. You can live beside me, you can't hunt right beside me. Okay?